Okay, we are going to look at health issues for men. And the outline of the talk is going to be, we shall define health, and then look at health issues by gender. We shall see that there is a difference between the male and the female gender as far as health is concerned. We shall look at behavior change as a way of bettering men's health, and also prostate and sexual health finally. So health could be defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and it's not just the absence of disease, but it should be complete physical, mental, and social well-being. The Bible talks about health in several areas, and the New Testament in Leviticus, we are warned about eating the right type of food, the right type of animal. We're also informed that priests, we are given the authority to treat. God talks about rest. And then in the New Testament, we see that the Lord Jesus Christ combined both priesthood and also healing. Looking at age expectancy by gender in Uganda, we can see from there that even though the expectancy has risen for men to about 62 years, 60.2, the ladies still live longer by an extra 2 years. And the question is, why is that? Now, the commonest cause of mortality, and also mortality means death, morbidity means ill health. In Uganda, these are figures of in 2016. We see that communicable diseases form 50% of the total disease burden, and the non-communicable 50%. And so we're going to look at the pattern of communicable diseases with regards to gender, male and female, and where are the issues, what does God want to do about the male gender for the male to be healthier, live longer, and have less ill, not be so ill. So the common NCDs in Uganda, these are non-communicable diseases, is the cardiovascular disease, that's like high blood pressure, heart disease, also the cancers, diabetes, and respiratory diseases. But the cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes lead. And there are risk factors why these are common. Alcohol, Uganda is one of those countries known for drinking, and these are recent figures. Tobacco, there are still people who smoke in this country, unhealthy diet, and lack of exercise. And you can see that the mortality for non-communicable diseases is on the increase, and it increases more for the men, for the male gender compared to the female gender. And we're going to ask ourselves, why is this, and what does God want us to do about it? And so you can see that non-communicable diseases contribute a significant cause of death, in old age, but also premature death. About a third of deaths in this country are from non-communicable diseases. And looking at cancer as one of the major killer communicable diseases, you can see that for men, prostate cancer is high on the list, and it has been on the increase now. It's actually the commonest cancer which kills men in this country. And Uganda and Zambia are the leading countries when it comes to prostate cancer in Africa, if not in the world. Here, the non-communicable disease is diabetes, which is blood sugar. This is highly prevalent, 1.4, that means every and half people out of 100 have some form of diabetes. And the mean age in this country is 35 years, which is much earlier compared to the Western population, where the mean age of onset is 60 years. So 35 years, our people are starting to get diabetes. And that is more so in men. The question is why. Now, looking at type 2 diabetes, that's the one which comes in the as you grow, and that's the one which usually does not require injection. That's a type 2. You can see they did research in Kanungu. This is in 2012 to Kanungu district, and you could see that 18.7 of the people there in that place had diabetes, and the female. This time the female gender is leading by almost 3 times with diabetes mellitus. So the female gender is prone to diabetes mellitus. But surprisingly, when they get diabetes, they attend medication, they attend hospital, and they take all their medicines. But the male gender, the men, they don't want to take their medicines, and they don't want to attend hospital when they have diabetes. So you see, even though it is common in females, they comply with the health measures, but the men don't comply. Why don't we men comply with treatment? Now, risk factors for diabetes are smoking and hypertension, obesity, positive family history. Those are strong risk factors for diabetes. Now, looking at hypertension as another non-communicable disease common within our population here in Uganda, the prevalence of hypertension is quite high, 31.5%. That means that almost 3 out of 10 people are likely to have hypertension. And it's highest in the central region, here in Kampala, and less prevalent in the northern region. And so we ask ourselves, why is there a high rate of hypertension, and why is it common in the central region? And looking at the causes, obesity is the highest risk factor for hypertension. And that map there shows us the red, especially the very red there in the center, the central region. That's where you have the highest hypertension. And as you move north, you get less. And in northeast, it is actually less, far less than where it is in the central region. So something must be there. Maybe those people are nomads and they walk a lot and they're not obese. And here in the city, we have good cars and we are obese. And so looking at hypertension by gender, you can see that the men are leading by 21.2% and the females are 20%. And one of the reasons we think that hypertension is common, and also especially in the male, is the westernized diet, the fast foods. It could be that when it comes to buying fast foods, the men buy for themselves, take away KFC, and then they eat on the road and they go back and then they eat the normal food. So westernized diet and fast foods are the things which drive the drivers of hypertension. Obesity is also another driver of hypertension. You can see in that in those figures that the people who are underweight, they have that the underweight are the ones who are in red, and then the overweight are the ones who are in blue. So you can see that there's more hypertension the more weight you have. How about road traffic accidents? Looking at road traffic accidents, and these are figures back in 2006 in Uganda. You can see, no, sorry, these are global figures, 2006 global figures, but they give an amazing picture. If you look carefully, the age range of 15 to 44, that's where road traffic accidents are commonest. Deaths from road traffic accidents from the age of 15 to the age of 44. And you can see that they are more common even in the age of 15 to 29. And the male gender is likely 4 times likely to die from road traffic accidents compared to the female gender. And so ask ourselves, why is it that the men are more likely to die from road traffic accidents? Maybe they're reckless drivers, maybe they're always on the road. We don't know, but almost 4 times. And these figures are almost similar to what we have here in Uganda. And so now we move from non-communicable diseases to the communicable diseases. We're going to see the difference here. Also, now, with regard to malaria, which is a communicable disease, the commonest in Uganda, you can see that the females suffer almost twice from malaria as the male. And the reason here is pregnancy. During pregnancy, our spouses, our daughters are more prone to getting malaria. They attend antenatal clinics and they're tested for malaria. So the pregnancy puts our female counterparts at almost twice the risk for malaria as it does for us. And it's our responsibility as men to protect our wives and our daughters from malaria. It's their health, but also our health. How about HIV and TB? This graph here, this is in Uganda 2022, very recent. And they traced the lifetime expectancy of men. The men are in dotted line. The female, the ladies are in the line, in the black line, and you can see that the men are likely to die more from, or many men died more from HIV, even though they were on treatment, than did the ladies. And the reason for this is that the men don't attend the clinic even when they're given the drugs. They don't take them. And so it is thought that that behavior of not being compliant is responsible for men to die from HIV. Some men are not as compliant as the ladies when it comes to taking drugs, when it comes to attending hospital. Men are very lax. We are very lax. Some male had more drug-resistant tuberculosis. In tuberculosis, they look at HIV. They look at tuberculosis as a main killer in HIV. And looking at tuberculosis here, you can see that the male got more drug-resistant TB. That means they got resistance to tuberculosis because they were not taking their drugs. So almost twice, 60% compared to 30%. That means these men got resistance because they do not take drugs. So as men, we are responsible for spreading TB, anti-TB resistance in this country. And also the deaths are much higher, 25% compared to 18% male versus females. So reasons: men smoke, men default from taking their drugs. That's why we die from TB and HIV. And what can we do about that? How about COVID vaccination? These are statistics from the US. Here, the men did very well. More men went for COVID vaccination than did the ladies. The reason is maybe the men didn't listen to all these different WhatsApp stories. They just said, let me go. But we don't know why. But the men were more cooperative when it came to getting vaccines for COVID. So looking at that, how do we improve our health as men? And we look at behavior change as the key. First of all, why are men more disease prone and have a higher morbidity and mortality? Of course, our biological makeup may have maybe a factor, but also we are risk takers. We take risk to war. We drive very fast. We take risky jobs. Then also we default from drugs. We don't take our drugs. We don't attend our clinics as we should. We don't go for follow-ups, and we don't attend screening. The ladies go for screening, for breast screening, the men don't go for prostate screening. Smoking, men smoke more than women. Alcohol, men drink more than women. I think maybe we have the money. Fast foods, we take more fast foods than the ladies. Maybe we have the money, we keep the pocket, the bag, and then lack of exercise. So all these things require behavior change. So men's health can be improved largely by behavior change, personal change, and also we should not only should we change our behavior, we should also be advocates for change, to change ourselves and also to change others. But you cannot change yourself when you've not changed others. So let us try to change ourselves so that we can also change others and be advocates for change. And these are the areas where we should be changing. Nutrition, we should eat better, drink more water, sleep longer, and I have to talk to myself because I don't sleep as long as I should. Rest more, exercise more, disease, go for screening, vaccination, and also attend to reproductive health, have a good reproductive health behavior. So even as I speak to you, I'm also speaking to myself about these things. So the general points here is we should implement these changes, a small change daily, and that builds up until we are really changed in our attitude and also in our behavior. So, and when the aim is to become stronger, become healthier, get a better skin complexion, be happier, a better immunity to disease, better mental health, and live longer. All these are the benefits of changing, of behavior change. And so we can harness these benefits if we are willing to change. Water. Ugandans are not big water drinkers, but we are told that we should drink 3 to 4 liters of water daily. That's what we need because our body is made up largely of water. But I bet you men listening on this platform, how much water do we drink? How much water do we drink? We should drink more to be healthier. So water is good for immunity, prevents clotting of blood in the vessels, improves brain function, protects the brain from disease, and also gives us a better complexion. Also reduces aging. Wonderful, wonderful things water does. How about sleep? And here, men, this is we are very poor at sleep. We sleep late and get up very early. We are advised to sleep 7 hours a day. That is the ideal. The longer, the better. And why do you sleep? The body shuts down, it slows down, it starts healing, it starts repairing, the mind relaxes. There are vital hormones like the growth hormone, which are released, the aging is slowed, your immunity is boosted, your brain function improves, you're more alert. Many times when I sleep late, that's when I find I'm making most mistakes, and that's when I have to be very prayerful that I don't make mistakes. So you can make a mistake when you're driving, make a mistake at work, you can utter a word you shouldn't be uttering simply because you didn't sleep long enough. Improve sexual health. Sexual health is becoming a big, big problem in men. And this certainly bounces back to the ladies because then the stability of our marriages is at risk. Then, of course, resistance to non-communicable diseases. Those are all the reasons for sleeping and sleeping adequately. Healthy eating. Every food has a potential to either produce life. Different types of foods have a potential to either produce life or produce death. Some foods actually produce death, others have a potential for life. So which food should we take? We should take bodybuilding foods, so the proteins, energy-giving foods, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals. These help in giving the body immunity, withstanding disease, enzymes, antioxidants, phytonutrients. Those are important for protecting us from cancer, especially the antioxidants and the phytonutrients. We shall say that these antioxidants and the phytonutrients are found in fruits, especially and vegetables. Those colored, the yellow ones, orange ones, those ones have a lot of anti-cancer drugs. Healthy fats, some fats are not healthy. Fiber, these are all important food. Fiber food with fiber, like the greens. So recommend lots of recommend plenty of fresh organic fruit and vegetables. Food in Uganda is usually not organic because they spray, and that is not good. So we should avoid as much as possible, try to eat organic. And many of us can grow something in our gardens. We're just, even in the city, we're just a little bit lazy. Avoid processed foods like meat, salami, those hamburgers, the sausages, drinks, these sweetened drinks, which we buy when we are taking children back to school, those quick drinks. White bread is not good. Ugandans don't like to eat bread which is not white. They think it's not clean, but white bread has been stripped of all the vitamins and the fiber, and then it has been bleached. And when you bleach bread, you can know that you're also eating bleach. You're eating bleach, and that is not good for your body. And then it's better to use natural sugars, sugars from fruit and honey. Those are the better sugars than the hyper-processed sugars. Now, the processed foods, they are convenient, they look good, they taste good, they smell good, they look better. But these are like French fries, processed meat, sausages, salami, white bread, all those I've said. But then we should limit their intake because as they're being processed, all these vitamins are lost, the fiber is lost, the antioxidants are lost, the phytonutrients are lost during that process of making them taste good. And also chemicals are added to make them taste more. The sugar is enhanced, there are preservatives and other things to improve the taste, and yet those are not good for the body. So these processed foods are responsible for hypertension, for diabetes, for obesity, for cancer. So they have dangerous ingredients. They are ingredients which are carcinogenic, which cause cancer, like the nitrates, the trans fats, those ones cause cancer. There are also ingredients in processed foods which cause cholesterol to rise in the body. And when the cholesterol rises, it blocks the vessels, and then you get a stroke, you get heart disease. So those trans fats, those fats, they fry those things with them. They're not good. And then they are also diabetogenic. They cause diabetes, especially those foods, sweetened artificial juices. They are diabetogenic. So these things we have to watch out for when we are dealing with what? With these hyper-processed foods. Fats, they are what they call dangerous fats and good fats. The dangerous fats are like the fats in margarine. They are called hydrogenated fats or trans fats. We should avoid these. But then there are also healing fats, which help the body to repair, to heal, for the improvement of health. This is like in omega-3, which you find in fish. So fish is very healthy. The phytonutrients, these are those ingredients in the natural organic foods which give the foods their color, and they are good because they're antioxidants, they're anti-cancer, they fight cancer. And so all those things you see, like mangoes, like oranges, like watermelon, that color God put in there is to protect us against cancer. How about exercise? And here people are exercising less and less and less in this country. It's difficult to run on the streets. The streets are crowded. There's air pollution. There are no play areas in the city. So, but it's important that we find a way of exercising, either walking or jogging, depending on your age. Some of us may be too old to run or to jog, but at least you can walk 3 to 4 times a day. Why exercise? You boost your immunity, you reduce cancer occurring, you improve your heart function, you reduce risk of diabetes and hypertension. Mental health is better, better sexual health, And even you build connection, especially these team games. As you're playing the team games, you build connection with the people in either in your team or in the opposite team. And now we're also going to look at aging and andropause. Time comes when men also, just like the lady get menopause, we also get andropause. So andropause is the other word for when your hormones start to go low in the body. And how do we combat the effects of andropause? Enhance our diet to eat better. At times, they also food supplements. They help exercise, then building connections with your with your family, strengthening your relationship with your spouse, and also just socializing and mutual support. That's very good. It's a very good way of keeping healthy as we grow older. Medical checkups should be more frequent, and accepting that you're growing old and that there are things which you shouldn't be doing, which you used to do, and being cool and calm about it, about your looks. Those are important as we age. Now, lastly, we'll talk about prostate health and sexual health, because these are key issues as you grow older. The prostate gland is a gland which is situated just below the urinary bladder, and in it are the channels for sperms, the channels for urine. They all pass through the prostate gland. So you can imagine, since the channels pass through the prostate glands, the channels for the urine, and also the channels for the sperms, that if the gland has a problem, then there's a problem with your reproduction and also with your urination. So the prostate diseases here include prostate infections. These are becoming more common, especially in the young. Benign non-cancerous prostate enlargement, which is called BPH. We see this in the middle-aged and the elderly. It is the prostate enlarges, but it's not cancer. And as it enlarges, it blocks the urine flow, and then you cannot pass urine well. People confuse this for cancer, but many times it's not cancer. But then there's also prostate cancer, which is common, which now starts in the 50s and the 60s and goes on into the 70s. So prostate cancer is something we're going to talk about. Then infertility also. So that's the prostate here, just below the urinary bladder. That's where your prostate is, and you can see that the channel for the urine passes through there, but also the channel for the sperms also goes through there from the testis. So it's a very important organ. So we shall start with prostate enlargement, which is benign, which is not cancer. How do you know that you have BPH? Most we see this is common. Our prostates start to enlarge around the age of 40, others even 35, and they become bigger and bigger as you grow. And so you feel that you're not emptying your bladder well, the stream is weak, there's dribbling. And when this happens, you should say, doctor. When you go to the doctor, they will take off blood, they'll do your PSA, prostate-specific antigen, to make sure that you don't have cancer. PSA, or prostate-specific antigen, is a word which every man should know, because this is the commonest, simplest test for cancer prostate. So they will test for cancer, and when the cancer is not there, the doctor will know that they're dealing with a benign, non-cancerous enlargement. And so they will do ultrasound. This should be done through the rectum, not through the abdomen, because through the abdomen you see nothing. It should be transrectal ultrasound. MRI may be done, and if necessary, if they're looking for cancer, then even do a biopsy of the prostate. So these tests help in confirming benign prostate enlargement and also in excluding cancer of the prostate, because the two may either coexist or may present in a similar way. And the treatment for benign prostate enlargement may be medical, it would also be surgical, either drugs or they operate you, depending on how big the prostate is. But this is a very common problem in men. Most of the men, our prostates start to enlarge. If they're not too large, then you can live with it. But if it becomes large and obstructs your urine, then there should be some surgical intervention. Prostate cancer, this is the commonest cancer in men, the commonest killer in men, commonest killing cancer in men. 60 out of every 100,000 men will have prostate cancer. And that actually moves to almost 1 out of 100,000 men get prostate cancer in this country. And the bad thing is that it usually has no symptoms. And so people go on with it undiagnosed and they present late. It can occur as early as 45 years, especially if you have a positive family history. Close relatives who died from prostate cancer, you can get as early as 45, as early as 50. So don't say I'm too young for it. And so how do you manage it? You should do yearly screening after the age of 45, do a prostate-specific antigen. They take off blood. Most labs can do that, but it should be a reputable lab. And when it is over 4 nanograms per deciliter, then that's when they should suspect prostate cancer. Then they do other tests to confirm it, like MRI, like biopsy. MRI is also the best screening method for prostate cancer, but it's very expensive. And because an MRI will cost you 550,000 or 600 or 700, not so many can afford. Yet PSA would cost you about 30, 40, 50,000. So even if you cannot afford MRI, at least do PSA. And treatment is by surgery, radiotherapy, or drugs. Then prostatitis, this is in younger people, 20 to 60 years old, and you get inflammation of the prostate. Some of these have had sexual intercourse, others you cannot trace history of sexual intercourse, but they still get the prostate inflamed, and it's a very painful process in the acute stage. Painful urination, pain after ejaculation. It becomes chronic, and the pain may come on and off. Low abdominal pain, urethral discharge, difficulty in passing urine, low back pain, reduced libido. All these there may be signs of prostatitis. So when you know you have it, you see a doctor. They test they may test your urine. They may do a transrectal ultrasound. Then they are likely to give you antibiotics to treat it. Erectile dysfunction. As I finished, I think this is important for us to talk about because it's becoming commoner. This is defined as an ongoing inability to achieve or maintain an erection sufficient for sexual intercourse. So if your erection is not sufficient for sexual intercourse, then that is erectile dysfunction. And it comes on with age. Diabetes also is a risk factor, hypertension. Then many of these drugs which treat hypertension also cause a form of erectile dysfunction. You're not as strong as you used to be. Obesity, stress, all these are related to erectile dysfunction. And so when you notice that you are not as strong as you used to be, you should go for a doctor who will do a physical examination. They may do ultrasound of the penis to measure the blood flow in the penis. They do a psychological examination because at times erectile dysfunction is psychological in many patients. Then depending on the cause, they will treat the cause. So as I finish, perfect health, God wants us to have perfect health. In Isaiah 40:31, it says, but those who trust in the Lord shall renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and faint not. So for us who trust in the Lord, let us also be obedient and also let us comply with the health instructions, the health advice, because God wants us to be healthy. Our health is a gift from God, and we should maintain that gift and use it for His glory. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, friends. Let us give a big hand clap to Professor. I don't know if you're seeing me. Hello. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor, for this wonderful. When you were presenting, I was thinking some faith traditions, for them, they just think about spiritual life, their understanding. Of course, this could be something very the conventional. For them is about spirituality, prayer, and the realization, the understanding of hope. So thank you so much for this enlightening moment. And I know members really, they have got really brilliant take home from this. So thank you so much. And we give glory to God for giving you this grace to share with us wholeheartedly. And really, I think we look forward again to have this very opportunity. Friends, we are going to, for a moment of question and answer. Of course, on the chat already, we have some questions. So Professor, again, we welcome you back. I don't know if you can see the chat. I will really read the question that has been posted. I know many people have questions, and friends, you can send your question. I will start with from Paul Lamonyo. What should men do? What should men do who don't have time to relax and even take on excess and ministries of economy? Some men are both father and mother, winning bread for family and off from job to job in order to try to balance. What practical thoughts do you have to cafe javas and the likes when they make the adverts so appealing compared to what Dr. Kasane Paul does? I think that's a question from Paul Namonyo. I don't know, Professor, if you want to respond one at a time, or you can read them and maybe respond like 3 at once.
Okay, let's have at least 3.
Okay, that is the first one. Then the second questions, how can men manage stigma when they have some non-communicable diseases? How can men manage stigma when they have some non-communicable diseases? Then, of course, the third question, how do you help spouses who are not willing to practice behavioral change with their health? Thank you so much, Professor. You comes and
can I get the first question was about men not having the resources to exercise,
yes.
resources, either time or place or money for exercise, for relaxation. The second one was on stigma. How can we break the stigma when I have an uncommunicable disease? Then the third one I didn't get very clearly.
The third one, how do we help spouses who are not willing to practice behavioral change with their health?
Okay, that one is from a lady. Thank you. And I know that us men, we are not very easy to convince. So thank you for those questions. Now, what would happen if you don't have the resources to do exercise or you don't have time to rest? I think it's all about being determined, having the will to do something. Today I was with a doctor and I told her, can I give you a lift? And she said, no, this is just a kilometer. I'm going to walk. And that to me was something very good. So she was determined to walk back to where we were because she knew that that was an opportunity to exercise. So let us take opportunity of every exercise. And if you're at home, don't go back and sit in the house. Move around and help, go to the compound and do something. That type of work we do. In fact, in the villages, people don't do sports and whatever, but the work they do in the garden, the work they do at home, that's the exercise. So let's create time. Let's be very creative in creating time for rest and for exercise. The second one was about stigma. How do I break the news? How do I deal with stigma, especially for some of these non-communicable diseases? It's not an easy question, but I think it's the relation, the closeness you have with your spouse. Can you share it? Can you pray about it together? Can you seek medical attention? So you start working together, you and your spouse, or you and a close friend if you're not married. Say, because many of this stigma, you want somebody to move along with you. So I think you get a companion to move along with you, to see that doctor, to do several tests, and that in a way is, and slowly by slowly, yes, you have to realize there are others who have your problem, and then the stigma becomes less. But you can also say psychologist who can help you. And then the other one is spouses who are stubborn. I think a gentle reminder is something which, my wife tells me, yes, this year, have you done your PSA test? This year, have you done these tests? And I sort of hesitate a little bit, but then after like a few weeks, I go and I do them. And then I have a cousin of mine whom we move together with. If I'm doing, he say, come, and then we can move and do that together with him. So spouses, don't give us up. Please just keep gently and in a friendly way, encouraging us to go. And or even come with us. Say, I'm coming with you. Let's go and do that test together. I think that's how we can do it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. I think another question which you have on this chart: how can family members deal with a patient with prostate cancer?
Okay, family members with a patient with prostate cancer. It's not always an easy thing. It's a difficult thing when news is broken to you that your daddy or your husband has prostate cancer. But I think first of all, in the prevention, try to do the tests as often so that the cancer is caught early. Because when it is caught early, cancer prostate and cancer of the breast, if they are caught early, they can be cured, especially cancer of the prostate. And so it's important to encourage to catch that cancer early enough. But when somebody gets that cancer, it's good for you to encourage them and also talk to the doctor who can encourage them through indirectly that there is a cure. At every stage of prostate cancer, there is a cure. The cure may be, after there is a treatment. The treatment may be a cure, it may be palliation. But at every stage, there is a treatment. And in the stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, you can achieve a cure for prostate cancer. Stage 4, you can palliate, you can work to bring down the bad effects of the cancer. And these patients with prostate cancer can live a long time. That plus diet, plus making sure they take their drugs, then that person can live a long time.
Thank you so much, Professor. Friends, I don't know if we have any other questions. If you still have questions or if you want to unmute yourself and ask direct, I think we still have like 7 minutes before I welcome our brother, Reverend David Munova, to give us a closing remarks. Any question? I think I can take one.
There was one which was saying that drinking water 4 liters of water is difficult. Yes, it can be, but we have been told that you go on increasing a little at a time. So today, if you're drinking half a liter, the next week you drink 1 liter, then you can find by the end of the month, you're actually knocking 4 liters. So it's a slow increment. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor. I saw one comment. I think there's a comment. If I am eating a lot of matoke and am I also indirectly drinking a lot of water? They are seeing 80% of matoke is water. I don't know if you would like to justify the, the statement.
Yeah. But you say if you're eating matoke, you're also eating carbohydrates. So in one way, you are eating excessive carbohydrates and you put on weight. And so I think let's try to drink water as it is. Let's try to drink water as either, it's not just water, you can drink tea, you can drink juice, whatever you can. If you can go up to about 4 liters, 3 to 4 liters. And I'm telling you this, I don't do it all that often, but I try. My wife knows that I'm really a big juice drinker, and they pack a pot of juice for me. So you go on adding those up, breakfast, lunch, not just the water, and you get there. But matoke alone, matoke will also give you weight because you put on eating carbohydrates.
Yes, thank you, Prof. There was also a concern that what advice would you give to, I think, eatery place like Cafe Javas, whose messages are very appealing and advanced, so appealing to the youths? And of course, what advice would you give to church? Yeah.
Now, don't take me wrong. Don't think I don't go to KFC or to Cafe Javas. I do, but not so often. But now, once in a while, it's not that you don't exactly, but if it is a habit and you're only eating from these places, then you're eating unhealthy. But the advice to them is that they should front not only those foods, but also healthy foods. And now some of them are starting to sell salads and other things. And also when they prepare a meal, there are some things which are a must. But when they serve you this, at least there should be that with it. Plus the advertisement. So that combination of if you're taking a burger, then there should be a little salad at the side. I think that's the type of advice I should give them.